There we go. Week 9, 12 boots in 12 weeks challenge. Let's have a look. G'day, welcome back to Bootlosophy. My name is Tech, and I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands that I'm working on, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. Now, this is week 9 of my 12 boots in 12 weeks challenge. If you're not sure what that is, you can go and watch the introductory video to the 12 boots in 12 weeks challenge, which is basically a challenge that I've set myself to choose only 12 pairs of boots out of my 140 something that I currently have, and just wear those 12 pairs of boots within this 12 weeks, and this is week 9. You can also go to my channel and go look for a playlist called 12 Boots in 12 Weeks, and you can watch the whole series of videos in order. Okay, so week 9, what did I wear? Now, I'm going to start with the pair of boots that I wore every day. I wore these boots to work every day in an office. For those of you who don't know, I'm a management consultant. And during the week from Monday to Friday, I wore these all week to the office. And 2 of those days included traveling out, one on public transport, train and bus to see a client in his factory. And the second, I drove to the city to meet clients in their office. I'm finding this, a conflicting boot. Obviously, the Trickers Stow is an iconic English country tramping boot. It is built on a typical English country last, which means it's quite wide for their standard fitting. It's a brogue boot, again, obviously, very much in the English country style. And it's an informer boot because the uppers are made in Nubuck. Nubuck is a 4-grain leather that's been corrected. Now, people who say corrected leather, oh dear, how terrible. Not really. They just sand it and they get to the Nubuck, which is this nappy sort of velvety feel. And in fact, Chrome XL technically is a corrected leather because you won't see all the hair follicles there. They sort of sand it down a bit before they tan it. So this Nubuck is actually, firstly, it's a very lovely looking boot, isn't it? It's that typical English country brogue that, you can just about wear anywhere. If this was in a dark, smooth grain leather, or in their famous acorn sort of tan leather, you could actually wear this quite dressily, like quite formally. And in fact, in England, when I was working there in the city of London, which is the financial centre of the UK and lots of Europe, people wore a black version of this with a suit. So my conflict comes from how well made it is, how very English it is, which I like, the comfort of the Nubuck, which is waterproof, and such a soft uppers, against which I'm not feeling a great deal of comfort underfoot. Firstly, it's a wide fitting last, but they don't actually narrow it down at the waist, which means your feet aren't quite snugged in to keep them steady. And I do find it has this midsole before you get to the day-night sole. I do find that I'm feeling the studs of the day-night quite a lot. I won't show you inside, but I've put in a stick-on heel support, arch support, heel support, stick-on arch support near the heel to boost up a little bit of extra support under my arch. Otherwise, I'm finding it a very flat insole. And I'm certainly not finding it easy for my foot to imprint itself onto this veg tan leather insole, cork filler, veg tan midsole. I'm just not feeling that imprinting that you get with heavy American boots. So that's where my conflict is. I'm not finding this the world's most comfortable boot. But in terms of wear and patina, it is comfortable over the top. It's a soft, comfortable boot. The last is just great if you have slightly wider feet, and you can see yourself tramping across wet grass when you're wearing this. Interestingly, the uppers here around here have a pebbly effect, but not so much across the vamp, across the pieces around the vamp or the heel. It's beginning to crease, and Nubuck does crease, I think, quite prettily. It doesn't crack and get that loose grain look, but it just creases quite elegantly. The shaft isn't rolling as much as it might if it were a smooth grain leather, but you're still getting the wear there. And I'm beginning to get a little bit of, I guess, rubbed off patina along the shaft. Not that I've been wearing it with denim, but I've worn it once with denim. But it goes with anything. It goes with anything as long as you stay in a neutral color in your outfit, or a monochrome like a black, and I find that pops. So across the 5 days, I'm going to flash through some of the outfits I wore, because some of you asked how you might wear a pair of boots that I'm waving around. So I wore this as business casual. So I have worn this. I find with this color, camel goes with it really nicely. And camel and navy is a fantastic combination. So I've worn it with a camel blazer and navy chinos in a fairly sort of relaxed, smart casual that you can wear into the office. I have also worn it this week where I reversed that camel and navy. I put on a pair of camel pants, and with a navy blazer, I then wore that with a tie. So that actually goes quite well as a very dressy business casual look. The other thing that I have tried with these is to wear them in a monochrome. So all black was one of my days in the office. Black blazer, black button-down shirt, and a pair of black jeans. I find that the tan color, this whiskey-colored tan color, pops really nicely if you're wearing it monochrome. And then with a slightly toned down version of monochrome, I also wore it with gray and black, and again, allowing this to pop. And then finally, of course, you can always wear this with denim, because this is a fairly casual looking boot. So leather, jeans, it looks to be a sort of dressed down smart casual. And there you go. I hope you like the sort of play with outfits. So the other two boots I wore, not very often, I wore these Wootten as a sort of replacement for the everyday Blundstones that I'd been wearing before. I kept these next to my couch, and again, I used these when I went out for just to buy something I forgot at the shops or go to the chemist or whatever. I'm finding these just getting more and more comfortable. And as you can see, the patina, this is burnishing done by the bootmaker, Jess Wootten, but you can see the patina is actually starting to look quite rugged with this rough out. The folds are beginning to show. Rough out obviously doesn't crease because there's nothing to crease. That's all on the inside. I am still finding this wide gap here a little strange, but I suppose this is a work boot. So if you were, for example, a plumber and you're kneeling, I think the open gap allows you to be comfortable as your feet are in ankle or at different positions. Or maybe if you're a mechanic, you're under a vehicle and your feet are on the ground, but your knees are sort of in funny angles getting under the vehicle. Superbly comfortable. And the other boot I wore, this is the NYX Overlander, of course. I had the opportunity again to go out last Sunday with a few of my mates. And again, my wife wasn't able to do it because of her health. And we went on a fantastic 6-hour walk in our national forest nearby. It was on trails this time. It wasn't a hard track orienteering like I did last week. But we just had a lot of fun. And this is such a beautiful boot to go out bush with. It really is. It's totally supportive. Got very muddy, so I sprayed it down with a hose when I got home. Cleaned up the sole, sprayed the tops of it and brushed it with a hard nylon brush to get rid of it. Patina obviously starting to show. I think you can see, I mean, go back to my earlier weeks and you can just see more and more of it starting to show. It's a waxed flesh, so the shaft in particular, the heel where I'm catching on things, the wax is rubbing off. So it's looking really nice. And finally, in my last week's video, I told you that I cheated. I put on a pair of boots that wasn't part of the 12 boot collection, and it was this one. This is the new Parkhurst Allegheny, built on Andrew Savisco's new 645 last. And the reason I put these on last Saturday, I put them on about mid-morning, about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I wore them all day, doing things around the house. I didn't take them off until about 4:30, 5 o'clock. The reason I cheated was because I'm writing a review of it right now, and I really needed to know what it felt like walking around all day. And I'll bring that to you. Spoiler alert, I think you might need to go a half size up from your usual Parkhurst size, but more details to come. So there you are. That is the end of week 9. I hope you keep watching. Click on like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Keep watching to see what happens in week 10. And as we get closer, I'll begin to really put my thoughts together about the experience of wearing only 12 pairs of boots and the importance of choosing the right 12 pairs. I'll talk about that right at the very end. So you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.